everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to my garden. I've got a lot of stuff to do today, so I'm going to be working as we talk about some of the things. We're going to talk about how you garden in a tiny space like this and how you get the most food out of a small space. So it's been a little bit windy today, so I hope you guys can hear me. But I've got to clean out all of this lettuce. I'm going to leave the other lettuce alone for now. And so this I'm just going to pull out, all the lettuce. It's getting too hot. We've had too many hot days. And so the lettuce has started to get bitter. I'll show you how you can tell. So I'll stand over here so you can see the lettuce. I'm just going to use my hori. I'm going to use this edge here just to cut right down at the bottom. So when you see that, that is a signal for the plant to go to seed. So I'm going to leave a few in just to harvest their seeds, but most of them are going to come out. You know you've got bitter lettuce when that happens, when that starts to happen. I haven't checked that one over there. However, it started growing later on, and it's not as in the sun as this one. It's got a little more shade, so I think we still have like another week or two on that. But these are all coming out except for one. I'm going to pick one, one will keep, but the rest of them will all come out. So that's what that looks like now. We've got one romaine left. I'll let that bolt and go to seed. And we've got one Four Seasons left, and I'll let that bolt and go to seed. So I've just got those two. These are my radishes. It is way too hot for radishes. You can see there's like one that's bulbing up. The others all just stayed very, very small, very, very tiny. I seeded them this densely earlier on also when I had the radishes further down. You can tell that it's too hot only because it is going to seed. So I will leave this guy in because he's going to seed and I want radish seeds for next year. This guy is also. So I'm going to leave a couple of them in just for that, just so I can have the seeds. I'm going to clear maybe just this part of it and leave those all in for two reasons. One is for seeds, but I'm also noticing a lot of pest damage, which tells me the pests are going to the radishes rather than some of the other things that I've got in the garden. And as long as we can keep them from the other things, I will be happy. Oh, don't need that. So those beans are starting to look really nice. They started off being very, very pale, and I was very concerned about it, but they've got their color back now. I gave them some fertilizer, and they've got their color back now. So I'm just going to keep heavily fertilizing. I guess they're heavier feeders than I thought. But they're looking a lot better now, so I'm happy. The pests are also going on these. They're not sure what they're doing, but it looks like pest damage here as well. But they still seem to be prolific. They're flowering, so they're gonna give us some beans, so that's good. I've got only 4 bean plants. Yeah, I was not expecting that much lettuce this year. Good Lord, I had a lot of lettuce. So I'll clear out the peas, or sorry, those are not peas. I'll clear out the radish, and then I will plant these guys. I'm gonna plant some of these guys in it. I've got 6 of those plants, although one of them doesn't look so well, so maybe 5. That was my fault, but maybe 5. So I'll put maybe like 1 here, 1 here. I'm gonna plant something else in the middle. I don't quite know what exactly yet, but I'm just gonna plant a couple kind of like along the front here, just to kind of attract the pollinators, because I want a lot of fruit from here. I'm so happy about that. I will pick this one with these tomatoes. Whenever I see this, no matter how early it is, I'll pick it, because I don't want the plant taking, oh, I might need my cutters. I don't want the plant using energy to ripen that fruit that's been damaged. Only the extent of the damage, like it's quite a lot. So that one's gonna come off today. I see small little bits here and there for damage, but not too much. So hopefully that'll remain not too much. But yeah, so far so good with all of the tomatoes. They're doing okay. I do have this one that I'm a little bit concerned about. It is stunted, as you can tell. It's quite stunted from, these are all the same type, all 4 of these. This one's stunted, and it's because of this down here. I'm not sure what happened, but I have stopped it. And it still seems to be growing, not a lot, but it is still growing, so I'm gonna leave it alone and see what happens. Our greenhouses here don't have these tomato plants anymore, so I can't exactly just run out and buy a replacement. So if I lose it, I lose it. But those are all the tomatoes I've got right now. Looking pretty a-okay. Can you see all that fruit that's on there? Good Lord, I've got lots of tomatoes already. I am so happy about that. I do need to feed them again. They need food. You can tell they're preserving because they've been so hot. The sun has just been scorching them. There's like not a cloud. Looking around, there's not a single cloud in the sky. And that's been like that for days. Except for, was it yesterday we had the big storm? But it lasted like 5 whole minutes. My nasturtiums have finally started blooming. I've only noticed today. They're so beautiful. So, enough dilly-dallying. Let's get this stuff done. So when you're gardening on a small scale like this, on a raised garden bed like this, you can't till it. How are you going to get a tiller up here, right? So I just mix it like I just did. I always add fresh compost and fresh matter, fresh organic matter on a regular basis. I want to continuously have that. It cuts down on watering, and it just helps to continuously give them fresh nutrients, really. With all of this stuff that's breaking down, it brings all of the worms up into here. I've seen a couple of worms up this high. This is, what is this, 2 feet up? 2.5 feet up. I've seen worms up in here, and it's because I'm constantly giving them something to seek out. And so they'll break it down, and they'll make it more, make the nutrients more available to the plants. So yeah, so that's kind of how I do it. I just add a whole bunch of fresh organic matter to it before I plant the next crop. I was gonna say field. It's not a field. But before I plant the next crop, I will always add a lot more organic matter. I would add worm compost to this as well. I'm out of it right now, so I haven't seen it in the stores recently again, so I haven't been able to purchase it again. But with what I've got here, I think is enough to be able to sustain the plants that I'm putting in here. For today, I'm just going to do the flowers, but then later on, I'm going to put some plants kind of in the center. I'm going to try and get some herbs. I've got some herbs growing over there. I'm going to dig some up, and I'm going to move them into here too in a little bit. Once they get big enough to transplant, then I'll have some basil and possibly some oregano, cilantro also even. So I might have some herbs in here too. I like growing my herbs next to the tomato plants. It helps with things like keeping the bugs away, and some people say it helps with the flavor. I haven't noticed a difference, but I like the herbs next to the tomato plants. So that's kind of how I do it. So that's one thing about planting in these raised garden beds. Another one is you can plant a lot closer than you think. So when you look at the seed packets, you'll see like so-and-so plant needs to be, 4 inches apart, and in rows of like however many, and then this much space in between each row and that sort of stuff. Well, with these, you're not walking in between the rows, so you can plant these a lot denser. You can plant a lot more in these, which will then end up giving you a lot more vegetables for your money, really, and for your space, right? Should probably keep on top of weeding more than I do, but life, what are you gonna do? So I'm going to continue to plant these. I think I'm going to do 3 in here, but that leaves us 2 for somewhere else. I need to find out where I'm going to put those other 2 because I'm out of space. So I don't know, they might go over there with those other flowers, maybe next to the poppies. Who knows? We'll find some space. There's always space for more plants, right? Looks like I'll have 6 after all. It's just the spent flowers that I was seeing here. But the foliage still looks nice-ish, so we're gonna give them... I just realized you guys probably saw that backwards. Ha! It's the Egyptian Starflower Pentas. It is an annual. I like to only plant perennials, but these ones, like I said, the greenhouses are running low on things, or at least they were when I got there. I finally got there. Everything else I've started from seed. These are the only few. I think I've had like maybe a handful or 2 of other plants, but everything else I've started from seed. So we're gonna go ahead and put these in, and then we'll do a quick little walk around. There's a few other things I need to do on the other side there. gardening hands. So I've got all this space now, all throughout there. If you have any suggestions on what I could plant there other than the herbs that I had said earlier, please let me know. Otherwise, I think that's what's gonna come in here. A couple of basils, I think. Ooh, maybe a parsley. Should I do a parsley in here? That might be nice. I've also got that empty space there. I had a tomato plant die on me, so I have an empty space there as well. So I might just put something there also that grows taller. We'll see. We'll see what I find. But yeah, got some space. Yay, space! More plants. What do you think of that cool arbor over there, hey? Let's see if we can... There we go. What do you think about that? I love it. It's finally here. Yay! So one of the issues that I have found with small space gardening is right behind me here. I've got the this one and I've got the zucchini, broccoli. So it's the broccoli and the zucchini here, and they're just giving me no space. And I had ended up planting tomatoes. There's like little bitty tomatoes, like those basket stuff for tomatoes. They make like tiny little itty bitty tomatoes. I've got 4 of those in here. One of them died, so I've got 3 now. I got peppers in there. I've got sweet alyssum, and I've got these beauties right here, which are the variegated nasturtiums. But they're getting no sun because of these giant mammoths. I told you, this is my first year growing here. So I'm constantly cutting this one back and that one back just to give enough space in between here so that they can get enough sun. So I don't know, maybe I'll get nothing from this space. Maybe I'll get some peppers, I don't know. But that's been a little bit of a pain. So next time I will remember that these and those grow really, really big, and I'll leave that space empty. Or maybe I'll do radishes because it's in the shade and it's a lot cooler in there. So maybe I'll do that. But another thing I did was I planted these tomatoes in here. Yeah, I know I have to move these out of the way. These tomatoes, Brandywine, and I have no idea. It was just a random tomato plant that was in the packet. And these are store-bought. And they're not getting enough space now that everything else is growing. So these peas are petering out. I'm gonna harvest these peas. I'm gonna pull those out, and that should give these a little bit more space. I've got 2 tomato plants over on that other side as well as here. That should give them a little more space. And then I'm gonna just continue to prune, I guess. So that is one of the things also for small space gardens. If you want a lot of plants in a small area, you're gonna have to make sure that your plants have enough space. Each of your plants have enough space. So I'm just cutting these leaves off and I'm just throwing them in the compost pile. I know they're edible. I should try them. I should try them in a salad, see if I like them. But then I'll have a little more space for these tomato plants. In hindsight, I should have probably just left them at the store, but I mean, come on. Tomato plants. Like, hello? Can we just stop for just a second and wonder in awe of that one? I'm pointing at it. It doesn't look like I'm pointing at it. Now it looks like I'm pointing at it. That big thing. I'll show you how tall it is. It's, okay, hang on. It's this tall. It's that tall. It's crazy, crazy tall. I'll show you a further away view. Egads, that's tall. That's better. Now they can see the sky. Now they'll get a little more sun for the next day or two. You can see I just watered. You can see where they got water and where they didn't. So I'll do some hand watering right in here just to make sure they've all got enough water. That tomato plant just decided to croak. I do have flowers on the tomatoes though, so I have hope. There's hope. These are the nasturtiums. They'll take a little bit before they start flowering, but how pretty are they? So yeah, got my onions. I've just got onions everywhere. There. Sorry, I moved the camera quite fast. I just notched that zucchini, so I think I'm going to pick that anyway, and we're just going to have something with zucchini in it soon. Soon. Not sure how well that's going to affect the growth of the vegetable here. However, I got to do it in order to get that diversity, in order to be able to have all that other stuff. You kind of need to prune and make sure that all the little babies get the sun that they need as well. There's another nasturtium there, the variegated nasturtium. But yeah. So these peas, you can tell by the leaves, they're just tired. They've got some pest damage. They're just tired plants. So very, very soon I'll just pull all of these plants in the back here, the ones that are on the teepee. I'm going to pull those. I'm going to leave these for just a little bit longer, only because there's still a lot of very thin peas in there, not very full pods. So I'm going to leave these on just a little bit longer, but they'll also come out soon. They're kind of squished in between the zucchini and the peppers right now. They're like, I don't know which way to go. I keep trying to like push them back this way so the peppers get the sun, but they're just like, I'm giving up. The trellis is just like, okay, I'm done. So we will be picking those soon enough, and I'll be preserving all of those for the winter. And these over here, I know I'm just seeing, like, as I'm saying this, like, I'm just seeing a new flower, but there's like maybe 2 flowers. There's another one here. It's like maybe 2 flowers on this entire big bunch, whereas there used to be, dozens upon dozens. So to make space for the next wave of growth, I think I'm just going to get rid of the peas in the back here, and that way then the tomatoes will have a little bit more space, hopefully, to grow. That's if the broccoli doesn't completely take over this whole bed. We'll see what happens. Those over there, you can tell those tomatoes are just kind of tucked in underneath the broccolis. Might be a good thing as the heat comes in. Might be a good thing to be underneath some protection. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. If you like this sort of content, please leave a comment down below and like and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks a lot and have a great day. Ciao.